Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm looking forward to talking about this topic today because it's been a long time coming. It's something I've wanted to talk about for a while. There are definitely some life lessons that I've learned during my time living in Calabria, traveling there, spending time with the people, getting to know the lifestyle there. And so that's something that I'm going to share with you all today. Just really quickly before we get into this today, I do have an Instagram page at Our Italian Story, which I will link in the description of this video, as well as my Substack. If you guys are interested in reading any of my writing, I often write about things related to being an Italian American and my experiences and so on. So if that's something that you're into, you can check that out. Again, I'll link both of these things in my bio. But other than that, let's get right into the topic today. Now, I'm going to mention 6 things today that really stick out to me, 6 life lessons that I've learned gradually. Some of them were not so gradual, but that I've learned gradually over the years living in Calabria. And the number one thing, the most important thing that I learned was how to ask for help. Okay. In Calabria, if you move there, you'll quickly realize that things are very connected to community. And as a matter of fact, Calabrians have a very strong community feeling, lifestyle, identity. It's very difficult, I think, to separate Calabrians from their community. They very much think within sort of I don't want to call it a hive mind because that sounds negative, but when I mention this, I'm talking about that they take the community into consideration a lot with their life decisions. So all that to say, learning to ask for help was really crucial. I come from the United States, which generally speaking is quite a individualistic society, and Calabrian culture is not individualistic at all. As a matter of fact, they place so much emphasis on this, and it can actually become a point of contention if it's not addressed properly, or if people feel like you're not respecting the community, or if they feel like you're not adapting and integrating yourself into the community. I mention this because as a person coming from the United States, I just felt like I don't know, I was just really used to doing everything by myself. And in Calabria, you really can't do that. I had so many situations where I needed to ask someone to help me, either dealing with my electricity getting blown out or taking me to the airport, helping me run errands. In some cases, even being a liaison for me in some relatively challenging situations, dealing with bureaucracy and that sort of thing. So I mention this because it's such an important detail, and it's something that I think can be difficult if you don't come from a culture where that is something important to people, and also where maybe that's not supported where you come from. And I had to recognize that in Calabria, people don't see it as a burden. As a matter of fact, they may even be offended if they found out that you did something and you didn't involve them if you needed their help, right? They really want to feel like you're considering them and that you think that they would consider you. It's like there's definitely this sense of obligation to one another. And to transition into the next thing, your word is your most valuable currency in Calabria. It's kind of rare that I see people exchange money there. Usually people find workarounds so that, there isn't so much money exchange happening between people that know each other. I mean, I don't know. I would just feel like unless there's an actual cost involved, people really try to help you out without actually making you pay for anything. And so your word is really valuable because if you say something and they take you for that, and maybe they even put themselves on the line for you, and for whatever reason you don't follow through with your end of the deal, that not only makes you look bad, but potentially makes them look bad to whoever they had to get involved in the situation that you're in, right? So your word is really, really important. And my advice to you, if you ever get in a situation where you gave somebody your word and something comes up and you need to go back on your word, you need to communicate that very clearly and very carefully and in a very respectful way, because Calabrians take that so seriously, and you can burn a bridge like that with a Calabrian if you go back on your word. This is something I've never had an issue with, but there have been a few times where I've consulted other people, like, okay, I really need you to help me, like, how should I handle this situation? And they will, just because they understand that if you don't stick with your word, that's a huge issue. You're going to have a really hard time getting anybody to trust you if you burn the wrong bridges. And this all comes down to a responsibility to your community. Community sounds like a great time, and everybody loves community when it has to do with like yoga or fitness or, some kind of like, we often talk about like the makeup community or whatever kinds of communities online. I'm talking about a real community where you live, where you break bread with people, where you integrate your lifestyle with other people. Calabrians take this all very seriously. So just as you have a responsibility to the other people in your community, they also have a responsibility to you. And they know that. They're highly aware of that. They're so acutely aware of that, let's say. And so if they feel like for whatever reason you're taking advantage, you're being a bit selfish, you're not holding up your end of the bargain in any way, you're just kind of weaseling around, not doing your part, that's going to spread really fast. And if you live in a small community like I do, it's going to get around and people are not going to like you, people are not going to help you, and you're going to find living there to be really difficult and really potentially miserable. I mean, if people don't like you and you get the wrong people against you, then it's going to be very hard to make a comeback. Once your reputation is trashed, it's pretty difficult to come back from that. I learned that Calabrians don't mind being a little disagreeable. And this is something I love because I love people that can just say it as it is. They're very direct. They're very honest. I find people that are very honest and clear about their intentions to be authentic and easy to deal with. I don't like doing all the guessing. I don't like trying to figure things out. Just tell me what it is that you want me to do and what your expectations are, and I'll do my best to meet those expectations. If I don't know, however, then that's where we're going to have some rubs, right? Calabrians have no trouble with this. Calabrians will tell you if they don't like something, if they think that something's not fair, or if they don't want to do it, or whatever the case may be. You will know, you won't have to guess. And I just really love this. I can understand that for some people this comes across too direct, too offensive. Maybe it even feels a little bit frustrating for some people because they feel like Calabrians are so stubborn and hard-headed. That's definitely one of the stereotypes I think most other Italians have of Calabrians. And even within Calabria, this is a thing, right? So being disagreeable is actually really important. And there's sort of this concept that boundaries made are boundaries respected. And that's another lesson that I had to learn along the way, okay? If you have good boundaries, you can be truly compassionate. You can be truly yourself in those situations. And people will know what you want. People will know how to manage their relationships with you. They will manage their expectations of you. But if you don't have good boundaries and you just let people push you around, which they will, because Calabrians do push, then you're going to find yourself in lots of situations that are uncomfortable and frustrating and maybe even a bit precarious in some cases. So you just have to be really clear, really, really clear. Calabrians will respect your boundaries. That's something I love because in some other places, if you have boundaries, it's seen as offensive, right? But I think for Calabrians, it's like they just want to know. They just want to know what they're dealing with. And if you're able to do that, then they'll know how to go moving forward with you. I mentioned this a bit in my likes and dislikes video of Calabria. I'll link those videos in the description box as well. But I mentioned that Calabrians respect boundaries, that it's really important to have good boundaries, and that this is a huge issue I see a lot of people that move there that are not from the culture run into. And this probably comes down to a language barrier to some extent, but some people just from different cultural backgrounds have trouble saying no. If you have trouble saying no in Calabria, you're going to get yourself into all kinds of situations because people are constantly trying to involve you. They're trying to integrate you into their community. And once you're in, you're in. And they kind of see you as just another thread in this tapestry of society that they've created, right? So you have to set the pace with Calabrians. And I promise you that you will be respected if you do so, as long as you do it in a respectful manner and you're clear. If you're not a boundaried person, Calabria is going to be very difficult for you, at least long term. Okay, if you go there as a tourist, it's not going to be an issue. But if you go there for a long period of time, long enough that you start to integrate, you start to make relationships with people, you're going to want to work on your boundaries for sure. And the last thing I'm going to say, and this is going to sound like a cliche, but you can't underestimate the power of good food and good company. Calabrians are huge on breaking bread with other people, sharing moments with other people, enjoying other people's presence, and especially in situations that involve food or drinking alcohol and that sort of thing. I mean, they just really love this. And if you get invited to people's gatherings, you should go. You should enjoy that. You should soak up those experiences and really recognize that they've invited you into that situation because they want to share with you. They want you to understand the culture. They want to share their food with you. And I mean, apart from the fact that we have amazing food in Calabria, okay, that's an aside, let's say. But it's just being present with Calabrians is really fun. You can learn so much in those situations. Yes, they're very different culturally, I think, from the rest of Italy. And I mean, all in all, life with Calabrians is just, it's a completely different world. In some ways, it's very untouched from other parts of, certainly Italy, but other parts of Europe as well, right? This is a very rural community. The way that people manage their relationships with each other is quite different. And I think it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite things about Calabria is being able to share so much time with other people, and they really will make a lot of time. We're talking about meals that last hours sometimes. That's something really precious to be able to be a part of. And I just mentioned this as my last sort of point here, because I do think, even though it's a bit of a cliche, like, okay, good food, good people, but really it matters, right? And if you think about all of the points that I just mentioned, all of this has to do with the same thing. It all comes down to who you spend your time with, integrating into a community, taking care of your community, making sure that there's reciprocal energy between people within that community. This is what makes Calabria so amazing, and this is why I love being there. Thank you for watching today. I know that this is a relatively short topic, but I felt like it was an important topic to discuss because there have been some really important things that I've learned living in Calabria. There have been so many, and some things that I just didn't even mention today, but I just wanted to share them with you because I felt like it was an important part of my experience living in Calabria. And I hope that if you ever go there, that you also get to experience some of these things. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe. All of that really helps out the channel. And I enjoy reading all of your comments and getting your feedback. I really do look forward to all of that. So thank you so much. And I will see you in the next video.